G'day guys and girls, your old mate Daz here with you again. Now if this is your first time to the channel, welcome, and if you've been watching some of my other videos, welcome back. So today I'm going to be giving you an update from my first video about taking Ozempic, which I released 2 weeks ago. And so I've now had 7 doses of Ozempic, the 7th one being just yesterday. And going to be having a bit of a chat about where I'm at and some disturbing information that's been in the media about taking Ozempic. And I'll be discussing my experience to date and tell you how things are coming along. So number one, when I started 6-7 weeks ago, my weight at the time was 131 kilograms, and the doctor put me on a low dose of Ozempic, 0.25 milligrams, for the first couple of weeks, and then increased it for the last 5 doses to 0.5 milligrams. Still a very low dose of Ozempic. Not so much for weight loss, although I can afford to lose a lot of weight, but mainly because I have type 2 diabetes and my blood sugar has been averaging 8 to 8.5, despite taking Janamet and 2,000 milligrams a day, and been on that for about 2 or 3 years, and it hasn't, it's sort of stabilized my type 2 diabetes, but hasn't brought it down to a level that the doctor is happy with to get us a blood sugar reading of 6 or less. And recent blood tests I'd had done said that I was getting some kidney damage, so the doctors decided to put me onto the Ozempic. So after the first 5 shots of Ozempic, which was like about 4.5 weeks in, my weight had come down from 131 kilograms down to 127.7. So I had lost 3.3 kilos in just over about 4.5 weeks. And since that, in the last 2 weeks, my weight has dropped from 127.7, and this morning it was 125.0. So I've come down another 2.7 kilograms in just a couple of weeks. So I'm now getting faster weight loss than I was originally, which is great. Although the last 5 doses have been at 0.5 milligrams. So in the last 2 weeks, I've been taking 0.5 milligrams per week. I was having some problems with heartburn, and I do still get a little bit of heartburn at night, but not as bad as it was in the beginning. Pretty much I'm feeling really good and everything seems to be going fine. But what worries me is that there's been some reports in the media of some bad side effects and some very disturbing, troubling reports of people going blind or suffering blindness in one eye as a side effect of taking Ozempic. So I've looked at all the different media reports on this. It is very troubling, it is very worrying. However, it seems to me that the occurrence of this is so low that it's not going to deter me from taking Ozempic going forward, because it's doing such a good job with my weight and my diabetes. My last blood sugar reading was 6.8, down from 8.5 a month ago. So I'm seeing great results, and I'm getting close to getting down to 6 or below. And that's without being on a strong dose of Ozempic. And the weight loss now, which is 6 kilograms in just over 6 weeks, which is great. Now, people might be thinking, well, a kilogram a week is not a lot. If you went on a diet, you could lose 2 or 3 kilos a week, and that's fine. That is totally true. When I've gone on diets, I've lost 4 or 5 kilograms in a week. But as soon as you stop, the weight comes back and brings its friends with it. You know, you might go on a diet for a month and you might lose 8 or 10 kilos, and 3 months later you weigh 12 kilos more than when you started. So it seems to me that the Ozempic is getting my diabetes under control, and the weight loss is coming off without me having to diet. There's no fad diets in the sense that I'm not cutting out certain foods, although I have reduced my sugar intake. I'm not going on a shake diet or anything like that. I'm just having regular meals, you know, 3 meals a day, plus snacks, plus drinks, you know, plus desserts. And, you know, I'm having biscuits and a bit of cake and stuff like that. I'm trying to keep the sugar down, and I am, but, you know, still rewarding myself with, you know, something normal to eat now and again. And the results so far are great. So people are thinking, well, okay, well, a kilo a week's not much, but if I was to stay on Ozempic for 1 year, 52 weeks, and keep maintaining this same weight loss, I could lose 52 kilograms, which is 100% of the amount of weight that I need to lose. Could lose all that in 12 months. And also I said to the doctor, oh, you know, I've got type 2 diabetes because I'm fat. And he said, no, actually, I think you're fat because you've got diabetes. You've probably had it for years. You didn't know about it and it's been untreated. And now he said, now that you're being treated for your diabetes, the weight's likely to come down and you know, stay down. Now, another thing that I have is hypertension. I've had hypertension now for you know, high blood pressure for about 19 years, I think it was, from about the time I was 35, actually that's 21 years. And since I've lost the 6 kilograms while taking Ozempic, and as I said, I've only had 7 doses, but the last dose was yesterday, so I haven't had that full week yet to see what happens at the end of that week. So 6 actual doses where I've had a week, you know, 6 times to see what's happening. And the way things are going, I feel that at the end of this week, before I have my next dose, I would have lost another kilogram or so. And I'm pretty sure that from 7 doses over 7 weeks, I would have lost 7 kilograms. Now, so in the media, they've been talking about how there's been reports of people getting permanent blindness in one eye, maybe even in 2 eyes, but most likely the chances it's going to happen in one eye. And that really, like, you know, kicked the chair from underneath me when I heard that. That was really worrying because of all the things that could go wrong. I mean, you don't mind a bit of heartburn, you don't mind maybe a bit of diarrhea, or, you know, you don't mind losing a bit of appetite, but nobody wants to lose their eyesight. That's pretty much the worst thing that can go wrong. That and cancer are probably the worst 2 things that could go wrong for a person, especially if you've got good eyesight like I have. Now, looking into it, it seems that the chance of getting the loss of eyesight in one eye for an average member of the public is about less than 1%. I think it was like 0.4 of 1%, which means maybe 1 person in 200 or so might lose eyesight in one eye or get damaged eyesight because they have like a mini stroke, burst of blood vessel at the back of the eye. Now that's pretty frightening. Now they're saying that while you're on Ozempic or Wegovy, which is much higher dose, especially for weight loss, it could be anything from 2 times higher to 7 times higher. Let's pick the worst case scenario, 7 times higher, which is pretty frightening, but it's 7 times higher of a very low chance. I mean, you know, like 7 times 0 is, you know, still 0. Well, 7 times 0.4, you know, is 2.8% roughly, worst case scenario. So that if 100 people were taking the Ozempic or the Wegovy, then your chances could be 2 in 100 that you could have some sort of eye problem. Now that's quite high. I don't know how well that's been substantiated, from how much of a test group and that, and what the chance of those people having something like that happen to them anyway, even if they weren't on, if they weren't taking the Ozempic or, Wegovy. But it seems to me that 1 or 2%, taking Ozempic could have an eye problem. Now, I don't want to say it's probably not as bad as you think, because it's bad. But they're saying that you're likely to get some permanent blindness in your lower vision, not so much your top vision. So basically your eye, from your cheek down, you may get blackness and not be able to see. Pretty scary, but you're not likely to lose the sight of the whole eye. And as I'm saying this, it's pretty worrying. But what are the other options? Because the doctor has told me that if I don't do this, then because of 2,000 milligrams of the Janamet tablets I'm taking, if I don't do that, and I can't increase that dosage above 2,000 milligrams, I don't really have many other options. And I'm likely to have to end up going on, because of the kidney damage, I could end up on dialysis, could end up start losing limbs like toes and things like that. Now, this really, comes right on home close to me, because it was in January last year that we lost a really good friend. It's actually my best friend's cousin, and her name was Kerry, and I think she was 63 years old at the time when she passed away Christmas last year, and in early January last year was her funeral. Sorry, Christmas just before that. So I think it was Christmas 22, and she was her funeral was in January 23. Now, Kerry was a big, strong, fit woman, and in her late 50s, she came down with type 2 diabetes, and it wasn't long before she found that she couldn't really stand up anymore, and she sat down in a wheelchair, and she never got out of that wheelchair again, basically. She couldn't walk unaided after that, and she had to go to the hospital twice a week, 2 days a week, and sit on dialysis. She had several toes amputated, and she went downhill very quickly. I'd say from start to finish, it was 4 or 5 years, and then she eventually passed away. That's not a route that I want to go down. I'm turning 56 next month in August, and I have a beautiful wife and 2 young daughters. I mean, they're grown now, they're 19 and 27, but still, they don't want to lose their dad. And I wouldn't want to leave my family behind either, of course. So I'm willing to do pretty much whatever it takes to get things under control. Now, the good thing that's happened is that the weight is coming off, which is a bonus. The blood sugar has come down, I don't know, I haven't worked it out, 20%, 25%, something like that, which is incredible because I haven't been able to do that before now. And my blood pressure has come down. So with medication, it was pretty common for me to be somewhere because it fluctuates, but somewhere around, let's just pick a couple of figures, 130, 135 at the top end, and sort of like 87 to 94 or something in the bottom end, okay? Not too bad, kind of under control, and I've been on that medication for 21 years, and in that time they've only had to increase the medication slightly once. So, and that was about 8 years ago, so that's been good. My blood pressure at the doctor's at the end of 1 month, which was 2 weeks ago, was 119/81. And last night before I went to bed, I checked my blood pressure, and it was 116/80. Best blood pressure that I have had since I was in my 20s. You know, it's taken like 36 years of increased blood pressure off me. So I feel my blood pressure is now like what it was when I was 22, 23 years of age, when I was at my peak. And I was slim. I was like 80 kilograms, which I think is about 165 pounds. And for my height, you know, just under 6 foot, that was fine. Now, and I was even a vegetarian at the time, so I was very fit and healthy. Well, my blood pressure at the moment is currently like it was when I was in my early 20s. So it's all been good. So am I prepared to go off the Ozempic now that I know that there is a possibility of damaging my eyesight permanently? It's frightening, but I have to say no. I'm going to continue because I don't have many other options. I can't go down the same path as Kerry. I wouldn't do that to my family. Now, I'm taking some, I'm feeling good for the fact that I'm feeling a bit better, but I'm only taking a 0.5 milligram dose. That may not, save me, but I'm having a low dose, and the doctor said he's happy to keep me there for some time. So the doctor, after 1 month, is now, and checking me over, and that was very happy with the results. He's now put me on 0.5 milligrams and given me a repeat prescription for 6 months. So for the next 6 months, or the next 5.5 months now, I'm expecting to stay at 0.5 milligrams because the results that I was getting for my diabetes, blood pressure, weight loss, just everything in general, and general well-being and feeling good, it's helped me so much that that's all I need to do. I don't need to go to 1 milligram, 2 milligrams, 3 milligrams. So the dosage that I'm on could be 1/7 or 1/8 of what some people are on who are just trying to lose weight. Now, so I never started this to lose weight, but I can afford to lose between 50 and 60 kilograms. So the fact that weight loss is a side effect, as I said in my first video, is a godsend. And, first I'm working on the diabetes and hoping, and it has, that my weight will just automatically come down, so fix this and cure that at the same time. So, yes, going forward, I am worried about the reports of, losing your eyesight, an increased chance of cancer, especially thyroid. Thyroid was slightly increased, and pancreatic cancer was the main one. All terrible things. But as I said, I don't really have too many other options. I could just go off my Ozempic tomorrow, and it's likely that in the next 6 to 12 months, I'll probably be on dialysis. I already get numbness in my leg. I can't stand up. I can't hold a full-time job. And so I've been self-employed pretty much for the last 10 years because that way I can work at my own rate. I run an online business. I buy and sell a few cars as a licensed motor dealer. I've written some books which I sell on Amazon. I have a property that I rent out on Airbnb. I've had to do all this stuff and try and find 5 forms of income to get money coming in each month because, I've got a mortgage to pay, and my wife works, and she works full time, but it's still not enough to live in Australia and pay everything. Expenses over here are very, very high. In Australia, for my wife and I, you need somewhere like $60,000, $70,000 a year to just get by. And we've only got a small mortgage. Our mortgage is probably only a third of what most people are paying because we've had our mortgage now for 16, 17 years. And our mortgage is about 1/3 of what other people are paying. So I've had to give up, a pretty good job because I couldn't stand up for 2 or 3 hours, or, especially when I had to work 5, 6, 7 hours standing up straight. My legs would go numb. I couldn't feel below my waistline because my legs became just dead meat. And if I sit down for too long, I've got to stand up and walk around. So for me to work, I've got to be pretty flexible. I could sit down at the computer for a few hours. I could stand up for a couple of hours, but I couldn't do 7 or 8 hours of repetitive, same sort of work. I need variety. So that's why being self-employed and mostly working from home, it's great for me because I'm free to do what I have to do. My family's very supportive. I do quite well being self-employed and working for myself, and we're able to keep our heads above water. Now, as I said, I'm worried about the blindness, the chance of blindness, pancreatic cancer, there's several types of cancers that you can get. There's like a hardening of your stomach. It can go rock hard. Like your stomach becomes like solid and frozen. Hasn't happened to me, but I don't, feel like anything like that is in the pipeline so far. There's the Ozempic face, But look, if I had to give my experience so far, staying so far on the 0.5 milligrams of Ozempic, I'm 98% happy, very optimistic, feeling good. I hope I can report this, the same to you in 2 weeks' time when I've been on the program for 2 months. I'll let you know in 2 weeks' time how I'm going with my weight loss and, just how I am generally. So I hope that you'll, like and subscribe and follow me on my journey. And, I'm feeling pretty good, but there are things to worry about. But I would be more worried not getting treatment when it's available, especially when in Australia it's so cheap. It's $30 per month because it's heavily government subsidised, the medication. It's probably the cheapest place in the world, or one of the cheapest, where you can go on Ozempic for 1 month for $30. I'd be a fool not to take up the opportunity wholeheartedly and get behind it. But still, there's those little worries where things could go wrong and could go wrong bad, but I don't have too many other options. So anyway, I'm going to wind it up there now. That's my straight talk. That's exactly what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling on the subject of Ozempic. And I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. You can, please comment, like and subscribe. And hopefully in 2 weeks' time, I'll be telling you that I've lost 8 kilograms, averaging 1 kilo a week. I'm feeling great, and my health is generally improving, and getting my diabetes and weight as a byproduct well under control. Okay, guys and girls, hope you've enjoyed my chat today, and I thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you next time. Okay, bye.